today I'm gonna show you how to make from scratch the easiest EQ you can have in Ableton Live. Let's do this. Before we start this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video. You see, I have 3 cats. 1, 2, 3. All they feed on is YouTube subscribers. It's crazy. They are looking at me and they're saying, "Daddy, you don't have enough. I'm so hungry. I'm starving. I need more YouTube subscribers." And I'm telling them I'm trying so hard. But yeah, if you can, please subscribe to my channel so you can help me feed my cats. Thank you so much, and let's get back into the video. Lately, there has been a real trend on user-friendly EQs, and EQs built for fast action, right? I think the most notable one is Claro EQ by Sonox, but there's a bunch of them, seriously. If you look at Claro on my screen here, I don't have it, so I have a static image of it. So Sonox, if you want to send it to me, I'll accept it happily, and I'll look at it and see how much better it is than my own version. But here's how it looks, right? This is the main view. There's other views and stuff like that. There's even simpler views. You can see that under the frequency numbers, they're adding descriptive words right here, like rumble, boom, mud, nasal. So these are the bad words. And then we have weight, warmth, body, presence, definition, air, the good words, right? So they're adding this visual help for us who are just trying to produce music fast, or maybe we're new and we don't have knowledge on what frequency is what. So you kind of just like, oh, this sounds so muddy. So what am I gonna do? Oh, there's the mud. So you end up not having to really think about the frequency number so much and just go right through where the word is saying your problem is. So it's pretty easy. I recommend you kind of learning the frequencies anyways, but I do admit that when I'm producing or writing songs or doing quick work, having these words and having these types of EQs is really nice. I don't usually use these EQs for mixing all the way through. You know, I could use this one because I still see like the frequency numbers, you know. I don't use the visual features as much. I gotta trust my ears when I'm mixing, right? But for producing, it is really nice to have this visual aid right there, right? And you can buy this EQ for sure. You're gonna have loads of fun with it. It looks really nice. But what if I told you we could make a similar thing in Ableton Live using stock plugins? And here it is. This is my little personal EQ. It's not a copy of Claro EQ. No, it's not. Of course it's not. I just used words. You can't copyright words, right? This is my version of an easy EQ to use, and it's called Julian's Easy EQ. And by the way, if you want to support the channel and you're feeling a little bit glonky, you're feeling a little bit lazy, and you want to watch the video, but you don't want to do this from scratch, I'll show you anyways how to do it from scratch for free. But if you don't feel like it, you can visit the link in the description below, click it, and buy it from me. You can buy this preset here for $1 or whatever you want to pay, and it's gonna help the channel. It's gonna give me a little motivation to keep going on, you know. And you're gonna have the EQ, and you're gonna have my presets as well. You see, I have a punk kick preset, I have a punk snare, acoustic guitar, rhythm, electric guitar, quick vox, drum bass, a bunch of presets that I made, especially for my own punk rock productions. You're gonna have that, and you're gonna have the really easy to use EQ, and you're not gonna have to do it from scratch. Watch the video anyways to the end just to see how I do it, right? But if you don't want to do it by yourself, you can buy it, support the channel. I'll be very grateful. So yeah, link in the description below. So let's delete my version here that's ready to go, and let's do it from scratch. So the first step is to create the base of your device. So our device is based on 2 EQ8s. So let's go here to Audio Effects, EQ and Filters, EQ8. Just drag 2 in the track, like this. There you go. And now you might be asking, why 2 EQs? Why do we need 2 EQs? Well, I'll show you. The first EQ is gonna be the subtractive EQ. So let's click here on the title, press Command R or Control R to rename it, and just name it subtractive. The bad things remover, right? That's gonna be the bad words in our EQ. And this one is gonna be the additive. This is gonna be the one that adds good things. So now we have 2 separate ones, which makes really easy to make the rest of our EQ plugin. The next step we're gonna do is, you see we have these bands here already kind of set up. This is my preset for EQ. Some of you might not have this first curve here, but it's fine. What we're gonna have to do to make this EQ works is to turn on all of the bands in the subtractive EQ, like this. And then in the additive, we can turn off the first one and have all the middle ones on, like this. And also put all of your curves into band curves, like this. We don't need any other kinds of curves. So there we go. That's what we need to do right now. You see, in Ableton EQs, we have a bunch of different types of curves. We have high shelves, low shelves. We have filters like this. We need only this one, and we need a high pass filter here, and we need a low pass filter here, like this. This is what we need. This is what you need to be looking at right now. The next step is select both EQs and press Command or Ctrl G to group them into an audio effect rack. Right here. The audio effect rack is gonna be our visual interface, so we don't ever have to look at these ugly curves again. We just want the nice, easy words, right? We don't want any complicated curves in front of us. So this is gonna be the way we're gonna make that happen. And to make that happen, we're gonna have to use macros. Macros or macros, I don't know, I'm Brazilian. This is my second language, I'm trying my best. Macros are one of the best features in audio effect racks in Ableton Live. To see them, all you have to do is click this little show hide macro controls right here. And right now, if you're using Ableton 11, by the way, this EQ, you can make this happen a little bit in lower versions of Ableton, but this is really meant for Ableton Live 11, because in Ableton Live 11, you can do this. You can press this little plus button and add a bunch more macros here. And we're gonna need all of them. So we're gonna need 16 macros to do our EQ. And the very first thing we need to do is to make this beautiful, all right? We gotta make it pretty and we gotta make it easy for us. So let's name everything and make these macros look beautiful. I believe that every good EQ has to have a low pass filter and a high pass filter, right? So that's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna get the macro one here. Remember, most things, if you click them on Ableton and you press Command R or Control R on PCs, you're gonna be able to rename them. So let's press Command R in macro 1 here and rename it to high pass off and on, like this. And let's click on macro 9 right under this one right here, Command R, and just name it HP frequency. So this is gonna turn our high pass filter here on and off, and this one's gonna choose the frequency of that high pass filter. Let's do the same thing for the low pass filter, so it's the last one. So let's go all the way to the other side of our macros here. Macro 8, rename it to LP off and on, and let's rename this to LP frequency, like this. And I want my filters to be different from the rest of the macros, so let's color them black, like this. Black is a nice color for filters. Very sober, very strong, like a really good filter color. Anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about. Now let's rename the rest of our macros, right? So for that, I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky and I'm gonna use the same names we have right here in Claro EQ, since they made it easy for me. You know, you can't copyright the words, right? Am I right? Am I gonna get sued? I don't think so. So let's use these words and kind of the frequencies they're pointing towards here on our EQ. So let's start with the good words. First of all, we have wait, and then you can press tab to go to the next macro, by the way, so you don't have to press Command R in every macro. You can just like name one, press tab, is gonna go to the next one. The second one is gonna be warm, that fuzzy warminess that we all like. Then we have juicy body right here. Yeah. Then we have presence and definition and the famous magic air at the top right there. Now let's do the bad words. First of all, let's get ready to rumble. Am I right? Then we have boom, which I don't think is a bad thing sometimes, but anyways, we're gonna use the same names they have in Claro EQ, so it's boom it is. So we have muds, everybody hates mud in our mixes, right? We have nasal, nobody wants a nasally voice in our mixes. We have harshness, nobody likes harshness, am I right? And we have hiss, which is just an annoying thing. So yeah, bad column for hiss. And now let's put the good colors on blue, like this. Blue is a good color. Blue is the color of the skies, of all the good things, right? So everything that's good is gonna be blue right there. And all the bad things are gonna be red. Red, all red. Red is a big no-no color, isn't it? It's the forbidden color. So let's give red to the bad things. And there we go. Look how beautiful that is. So at some point, after we set up these macros, our EQ is gonna look like this. Pretty clean, right? So let's start setting up the filters first. And it's really easy to set up macros in Ableton Live, right? All you have to do really is right click whatever you want to set up. Like I want to set up the on and off for the filter here, right? Right click it, and because we named everything, you can just find it in this list. So HP off and on. There we go. Now, if this is all the way here, it's off. If this is all the way here, it's on. How easy is that? Let's do the same thing for the high pass. So we named it. Here it is. Oh, there we go. That's beautiful. And we gotta do that for pretty much everything, really. So now to make our job a little bit easier, we're gonna use the expand button here in our EQ. So this little arrow does this magic thing right here. Oh, look at that. So big, right? So nice. So nice. And now we have access to all of the EQ knobs separately like this. So we're going to be able to map things even easier now. The first thing we got to do is map the HP frequency right here. We can right click the frequency button and find HP freak. And there we go. And the same thing for the other filter up here. So where is LP freak? There we go. And now If I move this one, you see, it's moving the right thing. And if I move this one, it's moving the right thing. Let's leave this all the way to the left and all the way to the right. That's how we want it anyways when we open our plugin. Let's map all of the gains for all of these frequencies here to the bed, because we're in the subtractive EQ, right? Let's map it to the bed row. So the first one is going to be a rumble. So here we go, rumble. Second one, it's the boom. Remember, we're mapping the gain, not the frequency. We're mapping the gain. We're going to set specific frequencies later. We're just mapping the gain for now. So let's map the next one to mud. Let's map the next one to nasal. Let's map the next one to harshness, and let's map the next one to hiss. And if you mapped all of them like this, all of these middle ones have the little green bubble here, and all of these are kind of halfway up like this, then you did a good job, and it's matching what I'm doing. Let's do the same thing in the other EQ. The other EQ doesn't have high pass and low pass, you see, so they're off, and that's what we want. So let's map the gains here to the good things. So let's start with weight, and then we have warm, we have body, we have presence, we have definition, and we have air. I feel like I'm judging a pageant and I'm like, you have body, you have presence, you have warmth, you're all that I need. Weird, right? Anyways, back to the video because I'm tripping now. Okay, so we've done that. Everything is mapped. Check this out. Everything is mapped. And this is one of the things we need. Let's go back to the subtractive EQ now, and let's set up each individual frequency to match whatever word we have here, right? So the first one right here is rumble. I believe that's around 40 hertz. So let's just type 40 here, and there we go. The first one goes to 40. It's the rumble. Now the next one is the boom, which I believe is around 100. The next one is the mud, which is always around 300 to 500. So let's put it at around 400, right in the middle. There you go. Now we have nasal. Nasal is usually around 900. So 900 it is. And then we have harshness at around 3K. We have to type 3000 for this, right? And then we have hiss, and hiss is usually above 10K, so we have to type 10,000 for this. Now there we go. Our frequencies are set in the subtractive EQ. Let's open the additive EQ again, and let's do the same thing. So weight is around 40. It's pretty much the opposite of the other one with minor differences. So let's keep going. Weight's around 40. We have warm, fuzzy feelings at 100. And then we have that sweet, sweet body coming in at 240. There we go. We have presence at around 2K, so 2000. We have definition at around 7K, so 7,000. And finally, we have the glossy air that comes after 10,000. So there we go. 10K. And that's pretty much it for this part. So we must be ready, right? Now we can move everything and everything's in the right place, right? Wait. So if I'm moving the blue row and it's the additive EQ, I don't want it to go down like this. I don't want my additive EQ to remove frequencies. I want my additive EQ to only add frequencies, right? So how can we make that happen? Now we're gonna have to dive a little bit deeper into Ableton's mapping capability. So if we click on map right here, you see in the audio effect rack, we have these little buttons. We have little buttons everywhere in Ableton, and I recommend you learn them because they're very useful. But we have the little map button here, and if we click it, this is another way you can map things to macros. You see everything that turns green, you can map it. And it's a question of clicking one thing and the other, and it's another really easy way to map things. I like the right click method because it's just what I'm used to. But this method works as well. But the important thing about clicking the little map button is that it opens this window right here. And because we name things, you can see how easy everything is labeled up here. Look at this. Probably you might open this window and it might be a little bit messier like this. But because we named everything, all you have to do is click on path. And all the subtractive stuff is together and all of the additive stuff is together. And you can see even the colors, which is awesome because that way you know exactly what you're doing. And in order to make our EQ work without the additive subtracting and without the subtractive adding, you're gonna have to work with the minimum and maximum values here to this side. If I want the subtractive side to only subtract, you see my subtractive side is all the red ones right here. If I want them only to subtract, then I don't want their max values to go after 0 dB. So all I have to do is click on these 15 dB values here, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0. And you can see that caused a really big mess here on my EQ. But if I just turn all of my knobs up here in my red row, you see that everything is gonna stop at 0. And once you turn them all up, there you go, everything is back at 0. And for the additive side is the opposite thing. I don't want the minimum of my additive side to go below 0 dB because I don't want it to turn anything down. So you see this side here, the opposite side, all of the blue ones, we're gonna click here, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0, type 0. And there you go. Big mess here, right? But again, this is the opposite of the other side. So we're going to turn everything down. And once we turn everything down like this, everything's straight here. Now you can press the map button to make this go away again. And there you go. Your EQ is ready. How crazy is that? How easy was that? Really? It's super easy. And now you can see I can turn up the good things and I can turn down the bad things. And I can move my filters and everything works. I can turn off my filters as well, which I would recommend when you're starting anything. So this is the neutral state of our EQ. Now we can close this and we can just look at this. Look at this. I recommend now you can press anything in Ableton and Command R or Control R and rename it. So I'm going to rename this Julian's EQ. I typed it wrong, of course, as always, because of my fat fingers. EQ. And I'm gonna type demo just because this is the version I'm using just for the video. I already have a version of this saved in my computer. And now you can save it by pressing the little floppy disk here. Remember floppy disks? I think this is a floppy disk. It looks like it, doesn't it? And you can save the preset right there in your user folder and it's saved forever. Look at this. Now you can use this EQ super easily to mix. And of course, you can even click the little button, the camera button here for macro variations, and you can save presets, which is awesome. So for example, you did this for a vocal like this here. I don't know, just doing random things. You did this for a vocal. You can just press new right here, rename it vocal, and press the little camera button to save it. Maybe you do another one for a bass guitar like this, and you change it a little bit. Oh my god, my bass is so cool. And then you press the little camera button to save. And now if you press the play button, you have your vocal presets, and if you press the bass button, you have your bass preset. In my version that you can buy, you have a bunch of little presets here from me for you. Let me drag the original version back here, my other version. It's pretty much the same. It's the same thing, you see? It just has the presets. So you see, you can have all of the different presets here. Remember, macro variations is an Ableton Live 11 thing only. In this version of the plugin, my version is only for Ableton Live 11. So if you have lower versions of that, you're gonna have to work out another way to do this, or you're not gonna just be able to buy this from me as well. I'm sorry. You should get Ableton Live 11. It's the best. But anyways, back. I don't want to bankrupt you. So back to the video. So let's test it out. So there we go. I got my session for lemon drops here. Let's play around with the acoustic guitars a little bit. So I have my original mix here. Let's delete that for a second and let's just listen how the raw track sounds. All right, let's drag Julian's EQ to the AC guitars right here. And now let's add a little bit of air. Kind of need that for your acoustic guitars to cut through a little bit more the mix. If your mix is busy, it's nice to high pass your guitars a little bit. So let's just turn on the high pass and the frequency should be around 50, I would say. You can really hear the high pass here if I play around with it. Let's leave it at around 50, 45, it's fine. Let's add some warmth, right, to the guitar. Let's remove a little bit of mud. Just a little bit of definition. And this is a before and after. We can remove some rumble as well because we don't need it for these acoustic guitars. Pretty cool, am I right? It does work. It does work. You might think it might not work because we have opposites like frequencies fighting each other. You might be doing like things that are fighting each other, but it does work. It kind of has the same way of working as a Pultec EQ. I'm not saying it sounds like a Pultec EQ. For God's sake, don't kill me, okay, Pultec lovers? But it has the same idea where you can boost and cut the same frequency. And in the end, you're using your ears and the words and kind of working things out, and you're not really looking at any curves or anything like that. And even though if you maybe boost the body and boost the mud, it might still work. You never know, you know? So you really are able to use your ears and have fun. What else can we play around with here? Let's do the drums. All right, I have the drums here. Let's just add Julian's EQ right there. Let's solo these drums. This needs a little bit of air. A little bit of presence maybe. A lot of weight, I would say. Let's remove some mud. Let's do the before and after. It does work. It does work. It's really cool. And it's really nice. Like, I wouldn't use this as your final EQ for all your tracks, but it is a really nice EQ to play around with and to just use while you're producing. Sometimes you're producing, recording, and you don't want to spend hours EQing things. You just want to stick something in there and move on. This is the perfect EQ for producing. So I hope you liked this video. Remember, you can download this version of my EQ in the description to support the channel. It's $1 only. If you want to support me, I would really appreciate it. Also, if you can't support me with money, you can always do this from scratch, but please press subscribe to my channel and like this video and press the bell and press all the things around me in this world that help me. Let's make this channel grow a little bit in 2022, and I see you all next time. Thank you and bye.